And what's up, boys and girls? You're listening to, or I said listening, wow. Yeah, it shows what I know. You're watching an all-new Impact Showdown Live coming at you right now on YouTube. What's up, everybody? Black Avenger, Lee Sanders, a.k.a. the Black Azrael, Lee Sanders. We got the one and only Diamond K. Diamond, how you been, buddy?
Very good, very good. Still getting adjusted to getting back to East Coast time. I've been on the West Coast.
Yeah, how's that travel been? Because I know we were chatting, and I know Tuesday you was doing something. What was that, in Atlanta, right?
Tuesday, no. That's later on this week. I was in Vegas, so it was just crazy. Then we caught bad weather. His flight was delayed. It was just jammed up in the airport. So yeah, it was just a little crazy.
For those of you that's wondering who's the guy with the red shirt down there at the bottom there, that's Roberto, one of our longtime listeners. His name's Robert, but sometimes I get it mixed up with Roberto. Hopefully you don't take offense to that, buddy. But he's going to be joining us in a little bit to talk about what he thought about tonight's episode of Impact Wrestling. It was pre-taped tonight, and Diamond, I know we're going to dive into it later, but this had to have been one of the most recent episodes of Impact Wrestling that I can recall that just had me kick back and say, damn, is it over yet? Because I was freaking bored tonight, man. I kept wanting to check out the NBA games. And those of you that's been listening to the show for a long time, you guys know that usually I'm pretty neutral. I'm real mellow when it comes to talking about whichever show for that respected night. But this was a night of Impact Wrestling that just had me go, God damn, way to put over the old heads. I mean, that's all I saw throughout the whole freaking night tonight. It just, if I had to rate this episode right now, I would have had to give an Impact a 2 out of 10.
I think I was a little higher up on it than you were, but yeah, I would probably say 4 out of 10 for me.
You're gracious. You're gracious. Seriously. We got a special guest that's going to be joining us in a little bit. It's the Omaha Chainsaw S.M King. And if you're familiar with his work, then you know he's mostly been doing some work down at the 3XW promotion, 3X Wrestling. And turns out he's actually one of the first students that was at former ECW, now Impact Wrestling color commentator, Taz. He did his thing down there at his dojo. He's one of his first students. So he's going to join us in a little bit and talk about his experience at Taz's dojo, also his upbringings as a wrestler. Should be a good interview coming up. True story. Diamond, I thought I'd share this with you before we jump into the show. I won't mention the name, but there was this show I was checking out earlier today. And this show had a particular WWE superstar. There's that alert. WWE superstar. We're going there. And the interview had to have been one of the worst interviews I've heard this year. And I personally messaged, and Diamond, you probably already know if you've been looking at the Blog Talk Radio, if you've been looking at the site study, you know who I'm talking about. And I personally have sent them a message, the WWE wrestler. I said, dude, no disrespect. I said, but you need to come do an interview with me and Diamond K. We will do an interview that will serve justice. We have the experience interviewing folks. Give us an opportunity. We won't let you down. And I'm proud to say that guy actually ended up following us right before we went on the air. You wanna hint who it is?
A hint. Yeah, give me a hint. Who's the? Give me a hint on the wrestler.
It's a whole lot of funk.
Oh, okay.
You got it?
Skinny Funk or Big Funk?
Big Funk. A lot of Big Funk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing something with him very soon. He's pumped up. He's ready to go.
What was so bad about the interview?
Oh my God. I hate making fun of people, but this is exactly how it sounded in my mind. So it's good that you're doing this interview with us here today. We've been kind of looking forward to it for a very long time, and I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear Stewie trying to interview a WWE wrestler.
Wow.
You
Okay.
know? Yeah, yeah. You
Okay.
know, yeah. It was that brutal. And like it took the guy almost 20 minutes just to bring in the daggone guests. I'm like, how long is it going to take you to bring in the damn guests? I've never heard so much promoting before in my life. The only thing that was missing was, hey, do you want a free credit card? Act now. I mean, seriously, stupid, man. Seriously, man. You know. All right, let's talk about Impact, man. While we're waiting on our special guest, let's just run
Okay.
right through it. All right, so I mean, off the break, TNA they did right. They tried to give us a home run off the break. It was, hey, Chris Sabin, he's returning after being gone for 24 months, rehabbing his torn ACLs. He's back. He's better than ever. You get to see him next. Triple threat match. What was it? Number one contender for the X division or something weird they had going on there, but it was Chris Sabin taking on Zema Ion, taking on Sanjay Dutt. Chris Sabin going out on top. The match didn't last that long, but it definitely was enough for me to say, yes, Chris Sabin's back, or hail Sabin. He's back. He's better than ever, you know. Um, what did you think about seeing Sabin tonight?
Well, I mean, I definitely think that he has not got his just due. Um, blowing out his knee, of course, was a bummer for him, and it's interesting that they're giving him this type of a push. Do you think that? I mean, I think he's injury prone. So I would be a little hesitant to give him, I guess, the type of fanfare that they are. How do you feel about the fact that? Okay, of course we know every wrestler cannot be the world heavyweight champion. A lot of them say that that's the goal, even though for some that's not a realistic goal. You know what I mean? So there's some guys that can dominate the secondary titles or dominate the tag team division, and I think that they should be happy with that. Some people, I mean, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So I mean, but so he wants to eventually, of course, be the world heavyweight champion, and so X division to me is where where he would belong. If he was in another federation, it would be the the U.S. title or the Intercontinental title. And I think that he's right where he needs to be.
Yeah. I don't want to crap on his return. Let me say this, and we want to welcome our special guest, S.M King, S.M King, Omaha Chainsaw. Nice of you to join us, buddy. I hope I didn't put you in a bad spot there.
Glad I could get in.
All right, good. And I definitely did. You watch Impact Wrestling tonight by chance?
I did not actually tonight. I caught last week's, man. I feel bad.
Last week? Okay. Trust me, you didn't miss that much. Yeah, you didn't miss that much. I mean, pretty much after the triple threat match, everything just went downhill. With regards to Chris Sabin, Diamond, and everybody, I think Chris Sabin, first off, he looks freaking phenomenal, and I love the fact that he's back
Since the rehab, you mean?
Yeah, since the rehab.
Yeah.
I mean, physically, he looks to be in the best shape I've seen him in his entire career in TNA. So it's nice to see that he cares about himself, physically this time around. He wants to make sure that he lasts in every way possible until he's ready to call it quits. But on the flip, and on the flip side of that, I'm thinking about the last time that he was in TNA wrestling. I'm remembering the run that he had where he was kind of made to look a little bit like a joke.
During the show.
You know? And I mean, for me, it's kind of like it's good that he's back, but I don't know. I'm not sold on a Chris Sabin being a future TNA World Heavyweight Champion. I'm not sold on that. You know, you could say the same argument for Austin Aries, but Austin Aries, he has that long track record with Ring of Honor Wrestling. I mean, if you bet against him, you came up short in the end. You know, he eventually he did become the top dog. I'm not really sold on that with a Chris Sabin. I don't know if you guys would agree with that, you know, but let's bring in Robert. I'm curious. You know, what did you think about Chris Sabin tonight? Are you buying a Chris Sabin as a future TNA World Heavyweight Champion? Robert, I can't hear you, buddy.
Hey, ahora? Yeah?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Yeah, hi to everyone. And Chris Sabin, he's a great wrestler. He looks, you know, phenomenal shape, but he's not there yet. I have seen he got a good match with Rhino back in '06. You can look it up on YouTube. He can work with the heavyweights, but he's not done. He's not there yet. I'm saying yet. Maybe in the future, maybe 2 years, maybe 2014, 15, but tonight, 2013, no, not yet.
Nah. And I think TNA Wrestling, they need to have some smart booking right now. And what they did tonight was smart booking. They only had him wrestle for about 5 minutes. And honestly, and Diamond and Steven, I definitely want to get your thoughts. I think that's the smart approach to take with him right now until they really feel comfortable with him, you know, to that point where they say, okay, you know what, he's lasted longer than his injuries. I don't think he's going to go out anytime soon. Let's try to give him more opportunities. But for now, I thought what they did was smart. Steven, your thoughts on Chris Sabin?
He's always been a great talent. Absolutely, from day one, he's shown a lot of charisma. Even back when he was working for Ian Rotten in IWA Mid-South, when no one knew who he was always a standout as far as appearance. He always looked better than the competition and things like that. As far as him and Shelley as a team, obviously they blew away everyone for like 3 years. I mean, they were just killing it. And as for right now, by himself, he's got to prove that he can come back from not only an injury, but also losing one half of what made him so exciting. I mean, him and Shelley, you know, together, they were amazing. But, you know, he's got to prove himself as a singles guy again. I think that's the big thing. You can't come off an injury after losing your tag team partner and say, I want the world. Like, it doesn't matter how good you are. The fans aren't going to buy that right away. So they're going to have to build that up, and they're going to have to make him go after it, basically. And so in the end, it's he could be ready himself in his own mind, in his own heart, in his body, but it's all about how the company's going to work with it and how they're going to aim him at the title. I mean, he can't just walk off an injury after being in a tag team for 4 years and just go after the strap right away, I don't think. I mean, you never know, but...
Good point.
That's a damn good point, yeah. I agree with that 100%. And see, unfortunately for me, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I still can't help but think about the last run that he had in TNA. He was kind of like a little bit of a joke. I remember Eric Bischoff. I don't know if it was necessarily Hulk Hogan, but I definitely remember Eric Bischoff kind of looking at a guy like Chris Sabin and going, oh, we can kind of make a running gag out of him. He kind of looks like one of those scruffy-looking kids from the Peanut cartoons. So they try to have him, you know, start doing little silly little gimmicks. You know, that's still in my head. So it's kind of like, okay, you want me to bite into a serious Chris Sabin. He's back and he's better than ever with a vengeance because he has something to prove to the entire world and to himself, especially since you've now separated him from his longtime tag team partner. Okay, that sounds good on paper. But let's see how it plays out on TV. They are off to a good start tonight, though. I will admit that. let's take a pause from TNA talk for a minute, and let's go more in depth with our special guest, S.M King, and just kind of touch up on what you were saying about Chris Sabin there. You were because I know you and me were talking off and on Facebook leading up to tonight. You were talking about how you had did seminars with Alex Shelley and all, and Taz. You say you were one of the first students at Taz's dojo. Talk about that a little bit if you can, because I'm just curious. When I think about Taz, I'm thinking of that badass, hardcore, motherfucker that just gets in your face and all that. Was that the type of Taz that you had to deal with at the dojo, or Taz wasn't even there?
The time when I went in, I think there was only about 4 or 5 groups of guys that he brought in. This last session, I don't know exactly how long it ran, but basically he set up a gym and a personal trainer for about, I'm going to say about 2 years. Somewhere in there, brought in a few different groups of guys at a time and worked on them and tried to make them better. Taz was there every day, absolutely. He's a busy guy, but at the same time, he showed up at 8:30 and was there till 4 or 5 every day for 5 days straight. So it was a great opportunity as far as learning things from a guy who had seen it all and done it all. And, he himself said, during his time as announcing, I mean, he was in a plane with Vince McMahon every day for, however long he was announcing with SmackDown. I mean, that's a long time. You learn a lot in that amount of time. You could go into a guy like me who doesn't even know anything about the big league TV, everything that entails, and I could learn a lot. So when it comes to Taz, he was already smart. He was ready for that. And I think he learned a lot from that. So he was a smart guy. He had tons of knowledge. He did come down on us, though, obviously. A lot of us didn't come up in the same way he did. We didn't come up from someone who got to the top and was solid. A lot of us have different trainings. Some of them were good, some of them were mediocre, and some guys were trained by legends, other guys, some of us were trained by guys who were trained by guys who were trained by guys that never made it, so we ended up having to pick up pieces from here and there and, travel all over the country, paying whatever we have to learn more, so Taz was that stopping point for me when it's like, I don't know enough. I need to know more. I need to talk to more guys with more names, like Alex Shelley. I need to do more name camps. And I did a few more camps after Team Taz, and then I did the gut check deal, which basically was that point when I really hit something where I was told I had something, and they knew what it was, but I had to polish it. And that's something that every guy wants to hear on the indies, absolutely. Like, who doesn't want to hear that, So as far as Taz, though, he was as intimidating and as scary as you would think, yeah.
Worse than Stone Cold Steve Austin on Tough Enough?
Not that bad. Not that bad. Stone Cold on Tough Enough, that was rough. I didn't see a whole lot of love coming out of Stone Cold towards those new kids.
No, he was pretty brutal.
And the kid that won it, like, they beat the crap out of those kids, and then the kid that won it, like, where's he at? Like, he's back on the indies doing nothing, man. I feel terrible. That's a rough situation, man. Like, you think your dream's made,
Or as Chris Farley says, he's somewhere down in a van down by the river.
By the river, yeah.
Something. I mean, that was like in and out in the WWE when he finally got in. It was like 1 foot in, up, sayonara. I mean, his exit was much worse than Braden Walker. Little Chris Harris joke for the watchers that don't know who I was talking about there. Talk about Alex Shelley there. I'm very curious because true story, and I've never said this story before in open form. I've always told the story in private. But I had an email exchange with Alex Shelley a couple of months back, and I was trying to see if he'd be willing to do the show. And you see the personality on TV, but you think that in real life it's, but I won't say what he said verbatim in the email exchange, but it was basically, damn, he really does come off like a jerk in real life. And I'm just curious, how was it working with him? Were you picking up the same vibe, or maybe the assessment was just wrong? Maybe he's actually a nice guy.
When I trained with him, it was the what I like to call 0-1 Alex Shelley. It was Shelley when he was just starting to go over to Japan. He was in TNA. He was doing the paparazzi deal, and he came to our little podunk. You know, it was literally my second training session ever, and in walks Alex Shelley, and he's teaching us all this just ridiculous wrestling. You know. And I haven't even, gotten used to hitting the ropes or hitting the mat or anything like that. And he's tearing us all up and saying we're garbage, and he's making fun of our ring. And it's just like, man, like I was just in that happy kid stage of living the dream. It's like, oh man, I'm going to be a pro wrestler. And Alex walks in and just craps on everything, just everything from the chairs to the fans to just the workers. And the only guys that he talked to were the area vets. Odd story, Sanjay Dutt and the guy that began my training were in high school together. Sanjay Dutt, oddly enough, from Omaha, Nebraska. No one knows that. And also, my trainer and Sanjay Dutt can be seen in some backyard wrestling videos. That backyard wrestling series 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
They happen to be. There's a couple of clips in those where they're both in there as well. Very funny stuff, actually. But yeah, then obviously Sanjay went out and got a lot of stuff done. Sanjay got a lot better, whereas my trainer actually, I mean, he also got better as well. But obviously he didn't get the same kind of exposure as Sanjay did. So Sanjay went from the backyard wrestling tapes to being on TNA and going to Japan. And the guy that trained me actually, while he did a lot in the area, in our area, you can only do so much. You're going to wrestle in Iowa, you're going to wrestle in Kansas, and that's about it. Maybe Missouri, down near Harley's place. But there's not a whole lot out here, unless you're willing to go out in Illinois and wrestle for Ian and IWA Mid-South, which basically anyone in our area, that was our crucible. We would go out and wrestle for Ian and probably get paid in a hot dog and a handshake and probably end up doing death matches for no good reason. And that's pretty much what we all have done at some point if we really wanted to make it. Some of the smarter guys were just like, screw it, this is a hobby. I'm not going to go out there for Ian. And guys like me are just like, sure, I'll go out there and get suplexed on the floor on light tubes. Like, that'll be great exposure. And that's not the way to get anywhere, but it's a fun story. So that's what I did. But yeah, Sanjay knew Alex. Alex came up as a favorite of Sanjay, and Alex hated every minute of it. That's the short story.
I like how you kind of answered the question, but you didn't answer the question.
Here's the thing, man. I don't know him as a friend.
Yeah.
I don't know him as a friend. I know him as a green kid who was staring at someone who I liked a lot, and he didn't really so much like any of us, or the city we were in, or the company that we were working for. And I was reffing his match, actually, me 6'4", him 5'9", and I was refereeing their match. It was a double shot. It was a Friday night, Saturday night, and I refereed the Saturday night show, the whole thing, and I split my pants in the middle of his match. And he didn't like me that much, and who can blame him? It's like he went from TNA in Japan, where everything's very professional, very laid out, very well done, and he went to Iowa. He went to Iowa in the middle of nowhere. So I can see how that would be a bit jarring for anyone. That's not easy. But he got his payday, so he has nothing to complain about. But at the same time, I can see how someone who's used to the good life, to some degree, would have a little bit of a hard time. You get a little bitter when you come out to a place for $75 or $100,
Yeah, but you know what I always say? I got this old saying. You think your life is worse. There's always somebody else right around the corner that has it just as bad. You know?
Absolutely.
And that's crazy. Tell me, what moment was it for you as a young man, or maybe as a kid? We hear the stories of, like, Mick Foley. For him, it was seeing Superfly, Jimmy Snuka, top of that steel cage, doing that body splash. For him, it was that moment that said, you know what, this is what I want to do. I want to be a pro wrestler. What moment was it for you, if you can recall, that made you say, you know what, this is exactly what I want to do?
Oh yeah, I think about it every day. Every day when I see the random scars I picked up over the years and every ache and pain, man. It was actually Foley, which is ironic that you said that. I was an awkward kid growing up, man. I was like 260, 5'4". Like, man, I grew up. I was awkward. I was homeschooled, so I didn't have any friends. Grew up in the middle of Iowa. Didn't know anything about anything, you know. So when it came down to it, I was actually homeschooled. I was driving with my dad up through North and South Dakota in the middle of winter, lonely, icy, cold, gross, disgusting. Like, you know, if our car breaks down, we could die, you know. And we stop in this city because my dad was a traveling salesman. We stop in this city, and I find a bunch of VHS tapes that were on sale for like $3 each, and I had $10 in my pocket. So I grabbed the 3 ones that looked the most interesting, which were the Foley tapes. It was like 3 Faces of Foley, Madman Unmasked, and there was a third one. And I was watching WCW up to this point. I was a huge fan of that, but my parents wouldn't really let me watch the WWF product back then because it was all racy and everything. And so I finally got some Foley tapes, and I snuck them in, and I was watching through them, and Foley was cutting that amazing promo with JR, where JR was asking him all these questions about his life, and, you know, how he became such a weird monster. And he was just talking about how he just didn't have any friends, and how he didn't have a social life, and how people made fun of him. And it just clicked. And then it cut right from that promo into the Hell in a Cell match, which I had never seen before, you know, and everyone knows what the Hell in a Cell match is about. It was Taker and Foley took 2 of the most insane bumps in pro wrestling history, and then they kept going after that for another 10 minutes, you know, and it was just, it just changed me entirely, you know, as a person, as a kid, impressionable kid who had, you know, no friends, and I hear this guy who's just fascinating, and he's talking, and he's crazy, and he's rocking, you know, it wasn't something that a normal guy would want to be, you know. No one grows up says I want to be a monster who everyone hates, you know. But like, I could relate to him, and for me, between the promo and the match, man, that just sealed it for me. It's like, I don't care what I have to do. I don't care if I have to put on a brown turd outfit and shave half my head and be a weird guy. I'll do it, whatever I have to do, you know. And then I ended up like me. I hit a growth spurt, and I actually look a lot better than Foley. You know, the joke is a lot of people have those moments where they're like, "Man, I hope I get to meet my hero someday." And I did. I actually did a training camp with Funk and Foley. They came up to do an induction into the Hall of Fame, in a wrestling Hall of Fame in Iowa. And they did a training camp that day, and so I got to watch Foley and Funk recite stories about Japanese death matches and all this different stuff, like 2 feet in front of me, you know. And because I pretty much memorized his autobiographies, all 17 of them, I knew exactly like what stories he was quoting and everything. It was great. I made my wife bake Foley peanut butter cookies, which he ate that night, and he was very thankful. It was awesome.
Wow. Great story.
I'm a nerd, man. I'm sorry.
If that's the case, we're all nerds, man, because you're freaking cool. What are you talking about?
And I hate to say, man, throw a rock in the indies, and, you know, some of the guys are like, oh, like, blah, 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 like, I'm not a mark. It's like, brother, I'm a mark. I'm the hardest mark of them all. I love pro wrestling. I'll watch any wrestling you got, man. I watch black and white tapes from the 30s. Like, I don't care. It's pro wrestling. Like, it's entertaining. Back then, it was one hold for an hour, but I'll watch it because it's something I care about, you know? Like, I don't hate on anything, man. It's like the one thing that I could say about anyone, and it's anyone, and I've lost friends over it too, you know, because I have friends that love the business and they talk about it so much, but then all they do is hate on it. It's nothing but hate, you know. And I've had those kids hate on the internet, hate on, oh man, WrestleMania sucked, or this sucked, or that sucked, and then they come to the shows and they ask me, because I'm a nice guy. I'm not one of those guys who's just like, F you don't know anything about wrestling. Like, I could be, but I'm not. And they come up to me and they're like, hey man, how do you become a pro wrestler? Like, what do you have to do? And I bring him in, I have him over to my house, my wife makes him food, like, we watch wrestling, and I try to explain to him what it takes, you know, right off the bat, what it takes, because it takes a lot more than everybody knows. And then they say, yeah, man, I have all that. I have all that. And I'm like, okay, well, the first thing you got to do is stop mouthing off about the business. If you do nothing but bury our business and talk garbage on it all day long, you're not doing yourself or our business any favors, you know? And then I saw him like 2 days later, the guy posted crap on WrestleMania. And I'm like, brother, you're not helping anything, you know? And then he blocked me and unfriended me and all this different stuff and stopped coming to wrestling training. It's like, well, you can do that if you want, but, you know, like, in the end, like, it just goes to show, like, if you say you love wrestling, all I request is that people actually love it, you know? It's like saying you love your mama and then pushing her down some stairs. Like, you don't love your mom if you shove her down some stairs, like, and you don't love wrestling if you talk nothing but crap on it. So, like, tonight I was reading through TNA results as I was waiting for you guys to call.
Yeah.
And it was just from this dude that just hated it. Just hated the whole show, like, from top to bottom, just hated every single thing on it. And I'm like, then why do you write results then? Like, just do like everybody else and just post a sentence saying Impact sucked tonight. Like, you know, like, for me, even if I hated something and I want my time back, I'll just say, well, that was interesting.
You know
attempt,
what?
You know?
You touched a very good point, and I think we need to go round table with that, because it seems to be something that's always consistent. You know, on the one hand, we keep getting the same amount of people that want to sit up and say WWE, TNA, WWE, TNA, but then when you start saying Ring of Honor, you start saying Shimmer, you start saying Shine, you start saying Pro Wrestling Blitz, you start saying Dragon Gate, okay? You start saying TCW, they don't know what the hell you're talking about, okay? All they know is WWE, TNA, oh, wait. They know a third one, ECW, okay? But they don't know the other stuff. And, you know, I always, like you, I always tell people, okay, you know what, if you call yourself a wrestling fan, then you're going to dig up stuff from other wrestling promotions. You're not going to sit up and bash a product that you know nothing about. Perfect example, I remember I did a post show for the Extreme Rising iPay-per-view. It was something that they did around maybe October, September last year. And I had this guy, I'll never forget it. He used to be one of our longtime listeners. But I had him, he set up on Twitter, and he had one of the guys that, I had a guy that used to work for me just putting tweets out. He said to him, why are you guys talking about Extreme Rising? That's a fucking dead company. Nobody cares about that. You should be talking about WWE instead. Trying to tell us how we need to be running our business, and it's like, dude, our business is talking about whatever is going on in wrestling and beyond, okay? You know, there's already a gazillion people out there that just want to sit up and they just want to talk about WWE. There's a gazillion people out there that just want to talk about TNA. There are not really that, in my honest opinion, from what I've come across in Diamond, I definitely want to get your thoughts on this. I don't know if you've come across the same thing, but for me, since I've been, you know, covering wrestling for the past year plus, it's just the same amount of people. And it's like, I say to them, you're not a wrestling fan, okay? Don't sit up and crap on a product if you're not willing to say, okay, you know what? Constructive criticism. This is why this was bad. This is how it should have, you know, this is where the improvements should have been made. This is how it could have been better. If these moves would have went down to make the product better, everybody probably would have enjoyed it more. We don't get that. Instead, it's 40 minutes of blah, 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 crap. And it's like, well, if you're not going to offer any constructive criticism, okay, why are you watching it? Why are you coming back the next week? Why are you ordering the pay-per-view? Diamond, and then I'll go to Robert.
I mean, you're asking me why do they do this?
I guess that's part of it, but have you been coming across the same
Definitely.
type of?
I mean, pro wrestling fans, you know, the quote-unquote smart fans, a lot of them are like that. And they'll talk about, you know, quote-unquote, right? You know, they'll talk about how They don't like this, or this angle should have been this way or that way. I'm never going to watch it again. And they're watching it again. You know what I mean? Just really, that's how some fans show their appreciation for wrestling, as weird as it sounds.
That's a hell of a weird way to show affection.
Yeah.
Robert, I'm sure you probably experienced an episode of TNA or WWE, maybe Ring of Honor, whatever your favorite promotion is. I'm sure you experienced a few headaches from time to time, but have you experienced that amongst your friends, the ones that want to just stay with one company, bash the other?
Yeah, they like for example, I watch Shikara, I watch ROH, I watch AAA, I watch World Wrestling League, I watch any kind of wrestling that I can get to see because I love wrestling. That's my main sport. I don't like basketball, I don't like football, I don't like soccer. I like wrestling, and I have seen like guys online, they're watching like every single Monday night the Raw, and they all they do is like trash the product. Why are you watching it?
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a damn good point. I guess and here's the thing: I'm starting to learn. I'm kind of learning it the hard way since I've been on the air. It's you actually got those flock of people that actually, in a weird sixth sense, and this sounds pretty weird, but I think y'all will agree, they get off hearing somebody else badmouth a product for 40-plus minutes or whatever. I mean, let's put a name out there, okay? Don Tony.
Don Tony, yes.
Don Tony.
What I was thinking.
Don Tony will go like 45, 60 minutes.
Talking trash about TNA, about...
Yeah,
I cannot... Why am I listening a guy on the radio trashing it? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Why he Don't Tony guy.
It's crazy. So King, tell me. I'm hearing an echo here, so forgive me. It's like a little second delay here. You were talking about how you participated in the TNA gut check competition, right?
Yeah.
Now, did you participate in the last one by chance?
Here's the thing. The way the gut checks actually work is, depending on where they go for live shows, they almost always have a gut check tryout before any of their road shows. They put the vibe out and they let people know, hey, at certain shows we're doing gut check tryouts. The stuff on air, like on the actual Impact show, is only a slice of what you're really talking about when it comes to the gut check guys. I mean, there's probably been hundreds of gut check guys, and right now actually that contest that they're doing, the gut check tryout thing, it's where they took all those guys that never made it to TV and they put them on a big list, and then they said vote for your favorites and we'll sign the favorites and give them a shot on the show. And then someone hacked it and everyone started hacking it, and then it all broke down and TNA had to stop the whole contest and say, hey, we're going to come back in a couple of months with a system that isn't garbage. It was a really bad voting system. They used Twit poll, like it was a Twitter, like it's a Twitter poll, like it's so hackable, it's ridiculous. Like I don't think they knew that. Like, I mean, they had to know that people would go so far as to have friends hack into websites to screw with the votes. Like they had to know that was going to happen, And I mean, I literally had people lined up out the door saying, "Hey, man, I'll do this and I'll do that," and eventually they sent out an email. TNA did, and they said, "Hey, doesn't really matter. We're going to take the top 3 out of every bracket instead of the top 1. A bunch of people are cheating. However you get to the top 3, we don't care. We'll take the top 3." And so at that point, it was just a free-for-all. And I was second for a good chunk of that time period. And then all of a sudden, the votes started jumping. Literally 10,000 votes at a time. I would refresh every 5 minutes, and people would have 10,000 more votes miraculously. And it got to the point where TNA had to shut the contest down. So now they're running another one, which I was in the first bracket, and I lost to a guy named Bad Bones, a German, just beast, killer guy from Germany. And call me crazy, but I have a feeling he's probably going to take the whole thing. Because as far as Europe goes, there's a lot of diehard, hardcore fans out there that love this guy. And honestly, he's really talented as well. He made a run through Big Japan. He's been in the 16 karat tournament over in WXW. I know he's been stateside a few times. He was at WrestleCon this year. So he's been making a mess of the indies and even the American indies too. So I think he might actually take the whole thing.
Wow. How was the gut check experience for you? You know, this time around, did you enjoy being in the whole bracket contest?
The gut check experience itself was amazing. The camp that I attended was run by Pat Kenny, otherwise known as Simon Diamond, and he's actually been working with TNA for well over 10 years now, pretty much since the debut of it. You know, when ECW shut down, you know, WCW shut down eventually. The young TNA picked up a lot of stars, and that's why, I mean, the product back then really fascinating because they had a lot of guys that were just from all over. And Pat Kenny was great. The whole deal was great. I learned a heck of a lot, man. I learned a ton. Changed up a lot of my stuff because of him. As far as the new bracket system, I think it's a lot less hackable. I did still get one email during my bracket that said that there was concern that someone was doing some business that wasn't above board, that wasn't accepted, but that once again they were going to let it go. And at that point, I just stopped trying. I ended up with like 40 votes, and I think Bad Bones ended up with 657, and the guy below him ended up with 653. So like it was actually really, really close for the top two. But you can only do so much in that case, man. It's just like the minute I got into the second bracket, I hustled. I had a buddy make a little 30-second commercial for me. Like it was great, and the minute I got that email saying, yeah, there might be some more hacking going on, but we're not going to stop the contest. I couldn't get my heart into it anymore. You know, like not that I was going to win. I wasn't. That's fine. I'm not saying that. It's just I wasn't going to bug my friends and family. I wasn't going to spam all my fans because I had to get number 3 instead of number 4. You know, It's like Bad Bones was just destroying it, man. He's really good. He's been really smart. He's been hyping it since the first contest. Like he's like, there's gonna be another contest, and I want everyone to vote for me. Like he was hyping that out like 4 months ago. You know, like he's been hyping it until he won like a month ago. Like he was hyping it, man. He totally deserves it. But yeah, it was a fun thing for a while. I was really proud of like my friends and family and fans like to come out and help me out like that. But most of my career, I have been a heel, and I haven't exactly made the most friends. You know, I've kind of gone out of my way to be kind of a douche as much as possible. So when it comes down to that, if I've been a douche for 6 years, I can't exactly expect people to come out of the woodwork to vote for me. So I kind of take that as a compliment in a way.
I saw a little bit of your work, and I must say, and I don't know if you had a chance to check out some of his stuff, but hopefully you take this as a compliment, but you just kind of remind me so much of Dean Ambrose.
I love me some Dean Ambrose, man. And here's the thing: when you watch all the indies, when like CZW, sure, when he went to IWA Mid-South during that period, the thing is, I was in there during a weird period where Hero was there, Ambrose was there. A lot of the big names were just kind of coming through. You know, Masada was there, and it's just like I remember seeing all these guys and shaking their hands and just getting that feeling that they walked into that place, they took their money, and they knew where they were going. You know, and I try as respectfully as I can to do not exactly the same thing, but I just feel like if Dean Ambrose can walk into Dragon Gate USA with some of the most talented, back-flipping, head-kicking, floor-diving guys and do nothing but scream and punch and stab guys with forks and get so over that it's ridiculous, that just tells you something, man. It tells you that people still want to see old-fashioned aggression with their crazy flips and their cool spots and their awesome stuff. And I'm not talented like a lot of the guys are. You know, like I came up in an area where people were just basically in an area of cruiserweights or slightly heavier cruiserweights, man, they can do all the cool stuff, all the dives. You know, every match has 5 dives and all the drivers and all the cool stuff. And I can't do a whole lot of that. I'm 6'4", like I'm 250. Like I can't do a ton of the cool stuff that they can do. But I can make faces, and I can scream, and I can scare children, and I can make it look like I'm killing somebody. And that's my skill set, you know? And that's what I'm good at. And that's where I'm happy now, you know? Like the final gut check deal, after all the camps I've done, after all the names that have either said good or bad things about me, as far as camps and what I can improve on, it finally just got told, man, you do this really well. You're scary. I think you could kill me right now. Just focus on that. And after that gut check, that's all I've done since then, is just chase down being as intense and as scary and as different that I can be. Terry Funk rule. And whenever I want to think too much and do too many cool spots, and as a bigger guy, I'm just like, you know, I can still try to do cool spots, or I can still try to do suicide dives. And then I just think about the Terry Funk rule. When everyone else is going left, you go right. If everyone's going downstream, you go upstream. And if you're in the land of people that do flips and head kicks, work on a punch and a scream and a scary face. You know, like Terry Funk, man, he knew what he was doing. That's why he wrestled till he was 70, because, man, he always had something to contribute.
Definitely.
Yeah. Go ahead, dive and jump in there, buddy.
Well, I definitely, since you like working as a heel, I wanted to know what your thoughts were as far as getting heat. You know, Bully Ray got into some trouble recently about you know, getting in a fan's face and some of the things that he said. What primarily is the best way that you like to get heat, heel heat from the fans?
Man, to this day, that's my current struggle. In an area where not a lot of guys look like I look, and that's no way a knock on them. It's just we got all different shapes and sizes out here in our area. I mean, we have some really good shows, really entertaining shows. I would say in the realm of most of our shows out here lately have been going in the way of Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. Like a lot of it's comedy, and then a lot of it's stiff, nasty action. Not really old school storytelling. So for me, I get cheered a lot just because I do the old-fashioned storytelling. You know, like even if I'm in a match for one night with one guy, it's never going to go anywhere. I try to make it look like that one night, that one guy is going to end up dead in the ring. And people tend to cheer that because the 9 other matches on the show all involve either comedy spots or people that are supposed to hate each other basically just act like they're friends, you know, and it's not very serious. And then I come through the curtain, look like I want to murder somebody, and people just kind of naturally applaud that. They kind of like it. So I'm at that place where, you know, the Vader pop is basically what I'm getting lately. When I came back from the gut check, and I came after all the guys that I could, just smashing them, hitting them, hurting them, I got cheered more than I ever have in my whole career. Nothing changed as far as the character. It's scary faces, a bunch of strikes, nothing fancy, but people just like it because it's believable, you know. Trying to think, you know, like if you watch enough of the flippy awesome stuff, like you're amazed for a while, but TNA was smart enough to do only so many of those X Division matches. If you watched more of the, did anyone watch the one night only, the X Division one? Yeah, like it's fun, but if you see like 12 X Division matches in a row, eventually you're just like, it's a lot of cool stuff, but I don't really believe that anyone, like, there's not a whole lot of, you know, like that Dean Ambrose vibe, you know, that vibe of like, that guy's crazy and he's going to kill someone, and that's as real as it can get, you know. So I feel like that's important. And so the problem is that because I believe that, because I put that out there, the fans almost respect it, and they respect the fact that I'm just trying to be real and trying to be serious about it when everyone else on the card is just kind of having fun. And that's why I get cheered. So getting heat for me, man, Bully Ray's a genius. Like, he's always said, if you let the Dudleys be the Dudleys, they'll be the hottest heels in the company no matter where you put them on the card. And I think that that's the problem. Like, the modern audience isn't used to old school heels like that just go out there and make you hate them and make you want to stab them and make you want to spit on them. Like, so that's my problem, man. It's like I actually throw a lot of stuff at the wall up here, but the fans just they like who they like, and they hate who they hate. You know, some really nice human beings will come out and give high fives, and the fans will just poop all over them. You know, what do you do? Like, the fans choose who they like and who they don't like when it comes down to it. Sometimes you can get the heat that you want, and sometimes you can't.
True.
Sometimes people just want to cheer you, and that's the end of it. And in our area, man, I've been putting in a lot of time in the gym over the last year. Gotten a lot better at what I do over the last year. I've gone out of my way to be better and different. That's going to get cheered in an area where a lot of the guys stay the same. You know, like if the fans see someone putting in work, they're going to appreciate it.
Yeah.
You know? So as far as getting heat, man, I hate to say I'm the wrong heel to ask, because everything I'm trying, short of kicking kids in the face or short of lighting people's personal possessions on fire, I haven't resorted to that yet. I might keep an eye out, but that's where I'm at right now, man. I'm getting them Vader pops. People just love seeing me. Yeah, I feel bad for everyone I wrestle, man, because that's a rough road to hoe.
And speaking of people seeing you, let them know about your upcoming matches that you have coming up. Any upcoming events, how they can catch you.
Heck yeah, man. Next weekend we have a show up in South Dakota for a company called 3XW, 3X Wrestling out of Des Moines, Iowa. They're a fantastic company. I've been killing it out there for a little bit. Been getting a little bit of run out there. And they're a fantastic company, man. They look as pro as ROH, if not more pro. They have a great setup. They have great talent. All over the country comes in. They just had Cabana come through. They had Adam Pearce come through recently as well. They're doing some really cool stuff, and it's just unfortunate that it's kind of in the black hole of the Midwest, where a lot of people just don't hear about it or don't see it. And if they do see it, they forget about it, because there's so much other indie wrestling going on the East Coast or on the West Coast, that even if there's really good stuff right in the middle, people forget about it or don't hear about it in the first place. So 3XW, something else to check out, Magnum Pro Wrestling. That's a company I put a lot of sweat and blood into as well. Basically in my backyard of Council Bluffs, Iowa. So 3X Wrestling out of Des Moines, Iowa. Magnum Pro Wrestling out of Council Bluffs, Iowa. And also Pro Wrestling Phoenix is a company also in my backyard. That's basically where I got my start. And to this day, I still work for them. They're a bunch of good dudes, and they care about wrestling. They care about entertaining people. And I was just, a couple of weeks ago, I was in their title tournament. It was probably one of the greatest moments of my life, actually. I wrestled my trainer, and the guy that began my training 6 years ago. I wrestled him. I beat him in the first round, went to the main, and I tore it up in the main, and it was just, that was awesome. So Pro Wrestling Phoenix, 3X Wrestling, and Magnum Pro Wrestling. Magnum Pro Wrestling actually has a couple of locations. They run out in California. They run here. They're all over the place, man. Magnum Pro Wrestling is going places too.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And share some links with the folks.
Yeah, definitely. On Twitter, I'm at Omaha Chainsaw. Instagram, same thing. Omaha Chainsaw on Instagram. It's my little fitness journal. Take a lot of pictures of myself, so be warned. Sorry. That's kind of what it's for. And then, the Omaha Chainsaw on Facebook. Hit up my pro page on there. I'm all about the likes. I do randomly throw up contests for free merchandise, things like that. I do love giving away a free T-shirt now and then if people will spread my name around and get me some attention. So definitely keep an eye out for that. I do have some wicked cool merch. My boy Jeff designed everything. He has a little company on Facebook called Green Kid Graphics. Man, check that out. He is a very cool dude. I love him to death with all my heart. He designs all my gear, all my merchandise, everything. He's the graphic go-to guy in our area, and he does amazing stuff. So if you're an indie worker and you're listening, or you just like graphic arts design stuff, just hit him up. He's also an indie guy by the name of Jeff O'Shea. He's a good dude.
Okay. And folks, we'll make sure we put all those links available after we're done with this episode. You'll be able to find them. You can also find the links over at our website at infinityOneProductions.com. We actually have a section that's dedicated to S.M. King here. And I got to tell you, man, I've had the pleasure of interviewing a lot of folks this past year, but this was definitely one of the most insightful interviews. And I always tell folks, that come through here, you're more than welcome. And we actually have had a lot of people that come on back because they have a good time just letting loose over here. You're more than welcome, brother, to come on back anytime you want to plug a match or just talk about something maybe you saw on TV or you just want to vent. You're more than welcome to come on back, even if it's just to say hello anytime.
All right, man. Thank you so much, man. If I win that 3X title next Saturday, I'll come back on and I'll wear it around my neck because it's big and purty. But yeah, man, thanks so much for having me on, man. This was a good time. It's been an interesting couple of weeks trying to get on for you guys, but I do appreciate your time. I appreciate you bringing me on.
Yeah, I'm glad we finally caught up. Cause I know I was a little under the weather there last week. I was freaking out diving. He's like, "You sure?" He's like, "You sure you're gonna be all right?" I was like, "Yeah." I tried to hang in there, and then I think it was like Thursday. I just went, "Phew!" And I was bedridden for the rest of the week. And I surprisingly, that was like almost 2 weeks ago. I still have a nagging cough, and I'm hearing the buzz. I may have pneumonia. So
wow.
My girl's like, you need to, the cough's been lingering too long. You need to go to the doctor. You might have pneumonia. I'm like, oh joy. So now I'm gonna have to go to the doctor. That should be fun. But I'm glad we finally hooked up, man. It was a damn good show tonight.
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Enjoy the rest of the night, bro, and have a good weekend.
Hey, you too, boss.
All right, now.
Again.
All right, thank you. Bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, one and only Omaha Chainsaw, S.M. King. Once again, you can check him out on YouTube at the Omaha Chainsaw. He's also on Twitter at the Omaha Chainsaw. Instagram, same name. Facebook, same name. So really easy for you to find him, man. Really a damn good guy. I like him. He totally kicks ass, and I'm looking forward already diving to seeing him come on back to the show next time around. Share some more wrestling stories. On that note, we need to follow up with this great guest that we just had. And Diamond, you're going to love this one. Next Tuesday night, boys and girls, at 11 p.m. Eastern. And this is going to be over on blogtalkradio.com, so you want to make sure you catch it. It's going to be at Tuesday night, 11 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have the one and only, the beautiful, and I have been trying to get her on the show for a couple of months now, and I finally caught up with her. She said, yes, let's do it. Beautiful, lovely Katarina Waters, a.k.a. Miss Winters from TNA Wrestling, formerly known as Winters. She's going to be joining us, and it's going to be a good show. We're going to do a great in-depth interview, find out what she's been up to. I know she's been dipping into some movie projects, so that should be a good interview. So join us for that. Bookmark it next Tuesday night, 11 p.m. Eastern. If you aren't able to catch it live, don't worry, we got your hookup. The episode will be available for your downloading, listening pleasures in the iTunes, Stitcher marketplaces. All right, let's do a quick rundown. I just want to just do quick fire shots. What had went down with Impact Wrestling tonight. So we picked up last talking about Chris Sabin. Let's talk about some other stuff. We had about 5 matches total. We saw some knockouts action, right? It was tag team action, as we saw Gail Kim team up with Tara to take on Miss Taryn Terrell and Mickey James. I actually didn't see how that had finished. Who won that match?
The knockouts match?
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, Mickey and Taryn won.
That sounds right, because post-match, Gail Kim had attacked Taryn.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
So you're right. Yeah,
Right.
I was more distracted by the beauty that was going on in the ring. That honestly, Yeah, because I actually did put it on mute when I saw them all in the ring. I was like, wow. And I actually said to my girlfriend, I said, I wonder if they're going to sell those attires on eBay. Because I would like to have maybe like a mannequin or something. Just, like without the head, just the upper part, and just kind of put the tops on there. And she looked at me kind of like, well, what are you going to do for the males? I said, well, Booker T's selling some boots on eBay. Maybe I can get some boots or something,
Wow.
but I was distracted by that one. But yeah, we saw something that I thought was downright silly. And Robert, I definitely want to get your take on this, from that wrestling fan viewer standpoint. But the disturbing match between Kurt Angle, D'Lo Brown. As soon as I heard this match, I'm saying to myself, surely we're going to see Kurt Angle get jumped. Surely we are not going to see this match just play out until there is a winner. How I wished what I was thinking would have came to fruition, because to see, and I know I shouldn't be talking, it's obvious I'm a big guy, but I know my limitations. I know I have no business pushing a extra small tank top or something like that. But to see a 300-pound plus guy, belly just all over the place as he's trying to fight off a Kurt Angle and say, I'm not going to quit. And, we do see him. I just wasn't sold on that. I just thought that was just really a waste of camera time. Diamond, what did you think of that match?
As far as the match itself, I mean, I quit match. I think that what happens now is a lot of these stipulation matches they just throw out there for no reason. And this is one. If you look at traditional I quit matches, they were deep in a feud. If you want to look at one of the more infamous ones with The Rock and Mick Foley, there was a reason for the match. If you want to go back to Magnum TA and Tully Blanchard, there are reasons for the matches, and there was no real reason that in this feud that they needed this type of a match. And I didn't think that the story was told properly. I mean, because a match like this, you have to tell a story. If the wrestler does not have a submission hold, then, if you want to go to NWA style, then, you're bringing something to the ring, some type of a weapon or something to induce the person to quit. Now, for the record, I hated the finish of this match. But I hated the finish of the Mankind Mick Foley match more. But this was just, I mean, I guess are they going to start to try to break up Aces and Eights? Is that what we're in the process of seeing happening?
That's what I'm wondering, because I mean we have Bully Ray give D'Lo that pep talk somewhat, saying, okay, so you can definitely go out there, you can get the job done, you can definitely get the W. And D'Lo's like, yeah, you got it, guaranteed.
Right.
So Bully even said, you bet your colors on it. And D'Lo's like, yeah, I bet my colors on it. So yeah, I'm kind of curious if he's going to be in some type of a, what's the word I'm thinking of? I wonder if he's going to be on trial.
He's on probation.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to be like standing there like judges, like in Superman 2. The verdict is, guilty, and kick him out of Aces and Eights possibly.
It should not be D'Lo in the situation. If you're going to do this, right, it needs to be one of the guys with an upside that you can push as a face further down the line. Of course, it's not D'Lo. D'Lo's too far in his career. It needs to be one of the other guys. It could have been one of the. I don't think it could be Briscoe, but I mean, it could any one of the other guys that are on the other side of their career that you could eventually turn to a face to help the TNA guys against Aces and Eights. That's who should be in this position. D'Lo getting kicked out is not going to serve any benefit at all.
Robert, your thoughts, buddy?
Man, D'Lo kind of have the psychology, but he's out of shape, man. He did look terrible on the ring tonight,
Yeah.
man. He was all over the place. You know, you see, he was trying, like he was trying, but he was with Kurt Angle. He wasn't, with a slow guy. He was a guy who, no matter how low he is, he's in great shape. You know, Kurt Angle.
Oh yeah.
You know, it wasn't a good decision to put them together on the ring. No, they didn't miss, the boat on there.
Yeah, you hit it dead on. I mean, if it was D'Lo Brown back from the Attitude Era days, I think we would have seen an entirely different match, one that would have had a lot of people talking. D'Lo had no business getting in that ring tonight, no business whatsoever. If they would have gone this route to kind of follow up on what you said, Diamond, they could have at least set it up in a way where maybe we could have seen over the course of 2-3 weeks, D'Lo, Kurt Angle going back and forth.
Right.
Then you have it be a I Quit match.
Right.
Like I said, it's just random. But how about the finish for the main event match? Big Matt Morgan challenging Sting. Oh, gee, I wonder who was going to win this one, because the #1 contender spot was on the line to take on Bully Ray at Slammiversary, June 2nd. We saw Matt Morgan, who, this was a smart move on TNA Booking's part. Smart in the sense of they didn't make Matt Morgan tap out, but they make him pass out to the Sting Scorpion Deathlock or whatever. Okay, so you're trying to do a Bret Hart Stone Cold moment right there. Okay,
And he did it very badly.
Very badly too, yeah. And I just sat up and said that I don't like it when people crap on a product. Let me give some constructive criticism. Here's what we should have seen on tonight's episode, okay? We should have seen Matt Morgan challenge Sting. Matt Morgan comes out on top, right? You still got time until that Slammiversary pay-per-view. The very next week, Matt Morgan, he could have been rubbing it all up in Hulk Hogan's face. Hey, I told you to give me the spot. Now it's mine regardless. What you gonna do now, Terry? And basically, Hulk Hogan could have sat up and said, you forget I'm still the acting manager of this company. Yeah, you may have got the spot, but I didn't say it was just going to be you taking on Bully Ray for the title, okay? I would have actually had Jeff Hardy be part of this match. Maybe they could have make it be a triple threat match. And here's the reason why I'm mentioning Jeff Hardy's name. And I know some people are going to be like, well, wait a minute, Lee. Jeff Hardy, they said he was out on injury. He's thinking about hanging up his boots for good. That's the storyline that they're going to be going with, right? Here's the thing. TNA Wrestling, they messed up big time with that, okay? How are you going to sit up and have the president of the company go on Spike's Bellator MMA? Oh, I'm so happy to announce that Jeff Hardy has signed a 2-year deal with TNA Wrestling, so we have him until 2015. The wrestling fans are not stupid, okay? So when you tell them that Jeff Hardy is out on injury, he's thinking about hanging up the boots after the beating he took from Aces and Eights. 90% of them are going to be like, oh, he just re-signed. That's a bunch of bull. So my whole thing is, why in
hold on 1 second. That, even though that happened, they still can get out of this. Bret Hart had signed a lifetime deal with WWE. Contracts are made to be broken. Even though she said that could still further the storyline more. He signed the contract. It was, haphazardly against his better judgment. I mean, there's so many ways. They can definitely get out of that. They can definitely get out of that if they so choose to. But, I mean, Dixie is not smart enough to the business, and Hogan and Bischoff definitely manipulate her.
That's how it's coming off, because I hate to say this, and Robert, I definitely want to get your take on this, but to know that the Slammiversary main event is Sting versus Bully Ray for the title, that doesn't exactly have me go, oh my god, I gotta see this match. It has me go, okay, I already know who's going to win this one, and furthermore, and I hate to say this, but what a waste of space. That spot should have gone to somebody that's actually about something. In TNA right now, you got Matt Morgan right where you kind of need him to be. If you would have taken a guy like Rob Terry and started pushing him months ago, that could be him trying to step up to the plate for Team Hulk Hogan possibly and try to see if he can take away the title from Bully Ray. Robert, your thoughts?
And first of all, I don't like to trash the product, but I do it like fairly. I did trash the WWE product for putting Cena and The Rock twice on WrestleMania, and I must trash TNA for putting 4 Slammiversaries with Sting in the main event. First of all, against RBD, then against Anderson, last year against Root, and this year's against Bully Ray. It, it's not the correct way to book him. You book him on the pre-main event spot. You don't put him in the main event. A guy who can even go out and wrestle without his shirt on. That's not that's not the way that you should do it, man. They should have put Morgan on it, and maybe like Lee said, Hogan screwing Morgan and adding somebody else to the match, since Hogan and Morgan have a beef with each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't. It's crazy right now. But I'm not sold on that Slammiversary main event. I'm sorry. Good point by Robert there. I did not realize Sting dominated that many Slammiversaries.
I didn't realize that either.
Wow.
Not a good thing.
Yeah. We need a break from Sting, obviously.
Yeah.
Sting. What's his motto? Sting, arrive with bat, hit person, get check, leave, come back for main event pay-per-view.
The problem is that they are trying to make Sting their version of The Undertaker, but in order for that to work, Sting has to go away for long periods of time and just come around once in a while. If Sting came around once a year, would it be better?
Kind of like an Undertaker deal?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be better.
Make him feel special to the fans.
Yeah.
Perfect example, and you know what? It makes perfect sense to compare the two beasts. You look at how they did Undertaker. They brought him back. He did his thing at WrestleMania, and then it was, well, you know what? We're getting ready to go out in London in a couple of weeks. Maybe we can make something special happen out of that. And sure enough, they did. They utilized him, the proper way, and now we're hearing that he may not possibly come back till possibly SummerSlam, or if they can have it their way, we won't see him again until 2014. So, yeah, I like him being a whole novelty act, and that's exactly how they should be using Sting right now, but I guess there's probably that part of maybe Spike TV exec saying, look, we helped you guys get Sting. We want to see more Sting. Give us more Sting. But I'm just a little disappointed. Honestly, I'm very disappointed with the direction that they're going in right now. It's like we're watching. Let's be for real. Bully Ray does not need Sting to help him get over.
Right.
That's the biggest problem that I have. That's why he should be paired up against like a Rob Terry. Hell, you could even make a spin out of the Matt Morgan deal. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, you don't go the route with bringing in a third person, right? You just have it be Matt Morgan, Bully Ray. Well, you go to the pay-per-view itself. I don't know if you guys would be sold on it, but maybe they could bring back the finger poke of doom there, and you know, and it could happen. I know that would piss a whole lot of people off, but you know, they could do a little something similar like that, and Matt Morgan could basically be like, Hogan, I told you your mistakes would come back, and boom, it could be revealed that Matt Morgan is the newest member of Aces and Eights.
Do they have a bike for him, really?
Huh?
Do they have a bike big enough for him?
I don't think so. that man needs 2 Harleys.
Yeah.
That was pretty much it for Impact tonight. I will say this, and I can't believe it almost slipped my mind. There is one thing that I loved about Impact tonight, and I definitely want to get you guys' thoughts on this. I thought it was very smart. I thought it was very innovative. That camera angle that they showed during that triple threat match with Ion, Sabin, and can't think of the third guy, Sanjay Dutt. What did you think about that?
Which angle are you talking about?
Well, you remember during the match, the camera
The head camera.
the head
Oh,
camera.
right, yeah. Yeah, that was cool.
Very innovative. I was like,
that was pretty cool.
wow, let's see how long it takes WWE to,
Take
yeah,
They'll take it.
You know they will.
Yeah.
You know they will. Hats off to them, though. And I even sent out a tweet to Dixie and them. I said, the camera thing, you got to keep it. Your referee looks a little silly, but, if you can maybe, work it out in a way where his head won't be sweating profusely under there, keep it. Because I thought that was really unique. And just the way that it was kind of like a first-person perspective. We're seeing basically how the referee's seeing it. Yeah, POV, yeah. Yeah, it was awesome.
I would like to see a referee bump on the camera, just to make fans look like how it would look if you were in the ring at that time.
I'll say this one. They also need to utilize that camera for when we have the knockout matches. It'd be nice to kind of see some very unique perspectives.
Yeah.
Let's end it on that note. That's the high note right there. Oh,
All right.
We did a good show tonight. I want to just take the time out to thank one more time special guest, Omaha Chainsaw, S.M King, for dropping by. And be sure to follow him. He's on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Yahoo, at the Omaha Chainsaw. Very easy to remember. Special shout out to our listener, Robert. And he actually had finally got his RCWR shirt today. And he also got a little bonus there. I think it was, what was it, the ECW Bloodsport?
One.
Yeah.
The uncut, like the never before seen DVD.
Yeah. You should enjoy that. That's a damn good DVD. And man, we did a good show tonight, man. Let's do this again. Heads up, if you guys are gonna go see Iron Man this weekend, the RCWR show is actually going to be on location at the Rio Theater in Gaithersburg. We're actually going to do a live show there and interact with folks that sell the Iron Man 3 movie. So join us for that. We'll go live, Blog Talk Radio, this Tuesday afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern. And Diamond, I got an early day on Saturday because it was either see Iron Man Friday night along with the kids and everybody, or go see it at 9:45 in the morning on Saturday. So I said 9:45 a.m. Hopefully I can get some decent seats. Everybody will still be kind of sleeping, and gives me time to set up shop and everything. Let them know what you're gonna be doing for Ustream this weekend.
Well, we got Ustream Radio Live 2 p.m. So that's gonna go down. Of course, the fight. Who do you have for the Mayweather fight?
Mayweather.
Okay, I agree.
Mayweather. Hands down.
I agree. Yeah.
I will be watching that. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Definitely.
And for you NBA fans right now, and this is a good way to end the night. Denver Nuggets. They are beating the Golden State Warriors 40-35. 2 minutes left in the second quarter. I unfortunately do not know the score of the first game. I thought two games had came on tonight.
But this one started at 10:30, whatever the one's on right now.
Yeah, I thought one came on at 8. I'm trying to, but you guys will figure it out. You know, you got the NBA on TNT with Ernie and them. You know they'll hook you up. They always do. And that's going to do it. I wish you guys be safe. Everybody have a good weekend. Great show, everybody. Let's do it again sometime.
Absolutely.
Hey, well, for Impact Showdown, this is the place. Yeah, live every Thursday night. That's it. We're done with Blog Talk. As Diamond said it best. Man, YouTube is so much better.
Yeah.
You know, YouTube is so much better. All right, guys. Y'all be safe.
Okay.
All right now.